Evening, everyone. I hope I've got myself in the right orientation. I just never know if I'm meant to be portrait or landscape for these things. I hope you're having a nice evening. I've got myself a little cup of decaf tea, and it's been a long time since I have just done a chatty video with you guys. I used to do these all the time, like in the early days of when I was vlogging and like just uploading whatever. I didn't really have like a YouTube strategy, and I was just like coming on here and chatting. So I thought we'd do a little bit of that tonight. So I wanted to talk about overwhelm because I know this is something that affects most of us, if not all of us. And yeah, I just wanted to tell you a couple of my strategies to get out of overwhelm. I used to be the kind of person who was absolutely stressed and anxious all the time, stressed out of my mind, just felt like my life was chaos. I honestly felt like I was just in the middle of a tornado with everything spinning around me all the time. And nowadays, life looks very different. Like, I feel like life is easy, life is happy, life's really good. And a lot of that comes down to do with me learning to manage my stress, to make life easier, to take things off my plate and to get out of overwhelm. So I really wanted to come on here and share a few strategies with you about that. So let's talk about overwhelm. So first of all, I want to talk about the things that make you feel overwhelmed. So comment in the comment in the live chat some of the things that make you feel overwhelmed. So for me, when I used to feel overwhelmed all the time, it was normally because my schedule was jam packed. Like, I am talking from dawn till dusk. I was booked up. I was doing things, and generally doing things for other people. I was picking up extra shifts. I had like millions of things on. I'd piled loads of things onto my plate, and I just didn't know how to take those things off my plate. I just kept saying yes to more and more opportunities and more good things. I'm a creative person, so I'm always the kind of person that's like, oh, I want to try a new thing. Oh, I've got a new hobby. Oh, there's a new thing, like shiny object syndrome. So it felt like the things that were being added to my plate a lot of the time were fun things, but also a lot of commitments, a lot of obligations. So basically, just being overbooked. That was a lot of the things. Um, Also, the times when I felt really overwhelmed because I'm really tired. Like, not right now, but those when I used to feel overwhelmed all the time and stressed all the time, it was because I was exhausted. If you go back and look at my vlogs from 5, 6, 7 years ago, I guarantee you, in pretty much every one of my vlogs, I'm like, oh, I'm really tired today. Oh, I've only had like 4 hours sleep. Oh, I'm just getting by. Like, that was my life. I was just living on constant adrenaline. And that's what I thought was normal. I genuinely just thought, like, oh, everyone does it. This is how it's meant to be. These days, I'm feeling a lot better, and I don't live like that. And I've actively made that decision. But yeah, that was a big contributor to me feeling overwhelmed all the time. Yeah. So what else made me feel overwhelmed? Feeling like I was giving too much to other people. So hands up, my fellow people pleasers. I used to feel like I had to give to other people. I would just always look out for other people's needs and try and help everyone else before I met my own needs. I would say yes to everything. I was over giving, and it made me feel like, even though it was me that had said yes, it made me feel a bit resentful. But when the time came to actually do the things, because I was just so overcommitted. I'm sure there's loads more that made me feel overwhelmed, but let's have a look in the chat and see what you guys have said. Night shifts, yes. Working on social hours, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like just working shifts and feeling exhausted all the time. Of course, that's going to make us feel overwhelmed. So the big question is, what do we do about overwhelm? So I'm going to share my strategies, my basic framework for dealing with overwhelm. But I also wanted to let you know about my program that I've got coming up next week, which I am so excited about, which is basically creating space in your life, doing everything you can to make your life easier. And I'm giving you my full system of like how I organize my life, how I create extra time in my life, and how I basically have my home running on autopilot. So I've left, I don't know if you can see the description box while I've got the live on, but if you can, I've left the link in the description box for that, and you can use the code earlybird for £75 off if you get it before midnight tomorrow night. So tomorrow is the last day you'll be able to get it at that price, £75 off. So it's just over £100 if you buy it within the next 24 hours ish. So it's called Spring Clean Your Life, and basically it is about making space, making life easier for yourself. So here is essentially a really quick overview of how I do that. In fact, I'm going to talk you through what I do about overwhelm in the moment. So in the course in Spring Clean Your Life, I teach you in more detail about how to deal with overwhelm in the moment. But then I also teach you about my longer term strategy for how I create a life that doesn't include overwhelm and stress all the time, because it's exhausting. And when I got burnt out, I was like, I need to create a life where things just feel easy, because I can't keep living like this. I can't keep feeling like everything's too much for me. And I just another tangent, sorry, I feel like I'm like going on lots of tangents here, but I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Let me know in the chat if you can. I felt when I was overwhelmed all the time like I was doing everything badly. I felt like I wasn't giving my all to anything. I was spreading myself so thinly. I felt like I was being a bad doctor because I was so tired all the time, and I just didn't feel like I was bringing my best self to work. I was anxious a lot of the time. I don't think I shared this at the time, but I sometimes had panic attacks as well. That made me feel just awful. I didn't feel like I was being a good partner because I was barely present. I had so much on, and I was so scattered and divided that I wasn't very present. And like the quality time that Vince and I did have together felt really like pressured, because it was like, oh, we've only got like 2 hours for this date night this week, and like, you know, that time's really important. It must be fun. And then of course, because I was tired and exhausted and overwhelmed, I felt snappy and irritable a lot of the time. So I would like pick fights over things just because I was so exhausted. I felt like I wasn't being a good friend or family member. I was overwhelmed by, you know, even text messages and WhatsApp messages. I was struggling to get back to people, and that made me feel like I was being a bad friend, because I just felt like I was drowning in being able to reply to people. I wasn't making the time to call my family as much as I'd like to. And you know, when I remember that, like, when I would go back home to my mum's house, when I had time off, I would always be exhausted, and I would just spend, like, family gatherings were always lovely, but I would spend that time being like, I'm so tired, and not really being present. So yeah, it made me feel like I was bad at everything, just spreading myself too thinly. So let me know if you can relate to that, because when I felt like that, I felt like it was just me. And I just want to let you know that if you're feeling like that as well, it's not just you, because all of us feel like that a lot of the time. So let me have a look at some of these comments. Robina says, can totally relate. I was living with my in-laws, cleaning the house before going to work and after, working 45 plus hours a week in an understaffed workplace and studying for an exam like a full-time student. Oof, that is a lot. I was doing a lot of housework, people pleasing, looking after my partner, and neglecting myself meant I was burdened out severely. Yes, yes, this is huge. You know, literally putting other people's needs before your own. This is why I talk about people pleasing so much on this channel, because when you people please, you leave part of yourself behind. You neglect your own needs because you care more about people accepting you than you do about looking after yourself. You care more about whether your in-laws are happy with you and, you know, accept you. You care more about how you appear to others at work, and you neglect yourself. You put your own needs behind everything else. I definitely did that. It's really hard. It's really hard. I promise you, it does get better. I'd love to hear from you if you're still watching. I would love to hear if you have got to a point where you've overcome people pleasing, and if you have, what helped you. I've got quite a lot of videos about people pleasing, so feel free to head over and have a look at some of those. But maybe I should make a longer video about how to overcome people pleasing. So if you're interested in that, do let me know, because it's important. And I wish I'd have had resources like that when I was going through it. Okay, what else is everyone saying? Brian says, I felt the heat feel the heat overwhelms me. Cold swims at night and early mornings help. I look forward to snuggling in my own bed. That's so lovely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm like that as well. Like the things that make you feel uncomfortable, the extremes of temperature, feeling like when you feel too hot or too cold and you're just like uncomfortable in your own body, your clothes don't feel right, you can't concentrate. Also, just like your basic physiological needs. So feeling hungry. If you're feeling hungry, you're going to feel more easily more irritable. You're not hydrated. You're going to just feel a bit like dazed and confused. So just, yeah, really taking good care of your basic physiological needs is really important to helping you get out of overwhelm. Somebody else says, I have a good friend who is a doctor and I always appreciate her holistic wellness approach. Good info here. That is lovely. And swimming helps more than hitting the gym. Yes, 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 yes. And you know what? When you are stressed, when you are in a state of constant fight or flight, when you're in a state of adrenaline, go, 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 sometimes actually going and doing an intense gym workout can make you feel worse. It can make you feel you can feel like you're in a even more heightened state of arousal. You can be like more stressed. And so something like swimming is very relaxing. And that cold water on your skin it stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. And interestingly, I don't know if any of you know this, but if you get water in your ears, it can actually stimulate your vagal nerve, and that's one of the reasons that you feel hungry after you've been swimming, because it stimulates that rest and digest. So little fact for you there, little medical nugget. Anyway, so where were we? So yes, if any of you are new to this live, welcome. And I've put the link in the description box if you can access that for my spring program that I've got coming up called Spring Clean Your Life. So go check that out and use the code EARLYBIRD to get £75 off just for the next day. So it makes the price of the course just over £100. So get in there quick. We're going to start next week. And I've deliberately started it the day after my birthday, which is my birthday's next Tuesday, and the course starts next Wednesday. So I'm very, very excited. I feel like it's just going to be a bit of a party of us all getting together and learning all this stuff. So yeah, what the program is going to be about is about creating space for yourself, making life feel easier, getting out of feeling constantly overwhelmed, and learning the strategies to make your life consistently easier. Just setting your life on autopilot, making it so you've got more time to do the things you want to do, more time to do the fun things like the swimming, the self-care, actually being present with friends and family, and feeling like you're actually being present and having that quality time. Sorry, I'm just being distracted by Tilly in the background. Yeah, just a side note, I took her out for a walk in the woods this evening, and she like had some interaction with a wild animal. I'm not sure what it was, and she's got a little cut above her eye. I heard her like let out this little like yelp. Bless her, she's never like done anything like that before, so I was a bit worried about her, but she seems okay. I've cleaned it all and she's okay. She's like doesn't seem bothered by it at all. And when I was cleaning it, like she's got this cut above her eye, and when I was cleaning it, she wasn't even like flinching or anything. Anyway, so that's what the program's all about. There's already quite a lot of people who've joined, so come and join us. It is going to be so fun. We're going to have 2 weeks of learning this stuff. So the way that the course is set up is we've got one live call on the Wednesday, the day after my birthday, where I'm going to be setting up the program. We're going to be explaining what it's all about. You get to meet everyone else who's able to join the live call. And then after that, I drop all the pre-recorded trainings, and there's going to be a group chat where I'll be setting you little mini challenges, literally little tiny challenges. The point of this is to like help relieve overwhelm. So it's not going to be things that are like that feel massive and scary and, you know, adding to your to-do list. This is going to be little mini challenges, little tiny tasks that move you towards feeling like life is easier. And what you're going to learn in this 2 weeks is, I know this sounds dramatic, but it's going to be life-changing. This is the stuff that I wish I'd known years ago when I was in this state of like constant stress. And these lessons will last you a lifetime. You learn this stuff once and you have that knowledge for the rest of your life. And not only that, you can have access to, like, you sign up to this course, pay 100 quid, just over 100 quid. You've got access for life, and you have access to every update. If I make any updates, if I add anything new to it, you get access to that. You get to keep it all. Any of the worksheets, any of the downloads, you get to keep. I'm even thinking of, I'm not going to tell you yet because it's an extra thing that I'm thinking of adding in. But yeah, so any questions about that, leave them in the chat. I'd love to see as many of you in there as possible, because it is going to be so helpful. And this is the lowest price that I'm offering it at. So if you think you're interested in it, just go ahead and take a leap of faith and bet on yourself and buy it for yourself as a spring treat. And yeah, hope that you enjoy it. If you do decide to join, send me a little DM, send me a little message and let me know so we can celebrate together that you're in there. Okay, so here's what I do. I'm like getting distracted by the chat, so let's just answer some of the questions. Was working in the emergency department cause your burnout, or was it F1, F2? Actually, it was F1 and F2. It was F1 and F2, my first 2 years as a doctor, that caused me burnout. I didn't know what burnout was when I got burnt out. I thought that I thought burnout was something that happens when you're like many years into your career. I didn't really know what it was, didn't really understand it, didn't really know what was happening to me, and I thought that it was a me problem. I thought that there was something wrong with me. I thought that like I just wasn't living up to my my job. So I just thought that I was incompetent. So I didn't really talk to anyone about it. I just got on with it. And yeah, so I got, like, looking back in hindsight, I can so clearly see that I was burnt out probably within 5 or 6 months of starting F1. And it got really bad. It got really bad. And yeah, I was not in a good space mentally. Like it was so difficult. And I think for me, one of the things, well, definitely people pleasing contributed to it, but and like I had an hour and a half commute, like on top of, you know, the 48-hour working weeks, and obviously sometimes up to 72. But on top of that, I was also running this channel, and I was running an Etsy business, which was like pretty full on. And I had something else on. What else was I doing? I was doing a mug printing business as well. So I had, like, it's all stuff that I was piling onto my plate, but I had a lot on, and basically, like, I hadn't learned yet to say no to things. And as I was saying before about being a creative person, I was constantly adding things to my own plate and not learning how to take them off. So yeah, it just led to me to burnout. It was not a nice experience, but I've learned a lot from it. And yeah, I'll definitely go into more detail about that in future videos. This has given me lots of ideas for videos, so thank you. Please feel free to send any more questions in the chat. Is it because of the decision making or the workload? Yeah, those all contributed. Those contributed for sure. Yeah, the workload was a huge one because, you know, it's understaffed everywhere. I think those of us in healthcare, we all know what it's like, and it feels like the burden's on you. You know, when you're the only one with the bleep, or you're the only one running, like, looking after 3 wards or 5 wards or 10 wards. It's just insane. It's way too much workload. Running the house is hard as well. Yeah, it is. It is. I think it's an overlooked thing. Running the household is a lot of work. Thinking about what meals to have, cleaning, just trying to keep on top of all the life admin. And look, I don't even have children. Like, I realize that I have it a lot easier than a lot of you guys. And I found it really hard. So I don't know how people do it with kids as well. So I recognize that, like, compared to a lot of people, my life is a lot easier than others, and I still got burnt out. So there you go. Where was I? So yeah, I was just going to tell you a little strategy that I find helpful to get me out of overwhelm when I'm like overwhelmed in the moment. So first thing I do is do a bit of a reset. So taking some deep breaths and just taking myself away from the situation. So you know when you're overwhelmed and you've got everything spinning around your head, like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Oh my God, I've almost forgotten this. I'm so stressed. How am I going to get it all done? All of those kind of thoughts. Take a moment, take yourself away from it all. Literally, like, physically remove yourself from a situation that feels stressful, and breathe. Deep breaths. If you've got time to do a meditation, great. Get out for a walk, get out for a run. Those help me. Time in nature, listening to the birds, listening to some relaxing music. If you've got time to have a shower or a bath, I always feel that, like, cleaning something, whether that be like washing my own hair or cleaning an area of the house, helps me so much. Just to, I don't know, it's just something therapeutic about cleaning. But anything you can do that just resets you. Also listening to like upbeat music and having a bit of a dance party around the kitchen, something like that, eating something, taking a few moments to just step away from the feeling of overwhelm and breathe and say, like, right, I'm having a break. I'm having a break from all of this and I'm going to reset. The second thing you need to do is face the things that are overwhelming you, face them head on, like actually get aware of them, like really be honest about what's stressing you out. So let's think about this, like in terms of if you're stressed out about like money issues, or you're stressed out about your appraisal, your say you're revalidating, if you're stressed out about revision, like we have a tendency as humans to turn away from the stress. We distract ourselves, we numb ourselves with like scrolling, watching TV, partying with friends, online shopping, gambling, drinking alcohol. Like we turn away from the problem, distract ourselves, because it's easier to numb yourself with those things than it is to actually get clear on what the problem is and deal with it, because we feel so uncomfortable when we look the problem in the eye. So get really honest about what's causing you stress and write it all down. When you're stressed, when you're in this state of overwhelm, your brain is on overdrive and your executive function, your prefrontal cortex, is literally not working as well as it does when you're in a state of relaxation and calm. So when you're trying to remember it all, when you're trying to hold it all in your head, you're actually causing yourself more stress. It's more difficult for your prefrontal cortex to do its job. So get everything down on paper. Let it out of your brain. Give your brain a break. Get it all down on paper. Just a brain dump. Write down everything that's bothering you. So whether that, like I said, finances, your to-do list, appointments you've got to book, people you've got to get back in contact with, that long list of WhatsApps that you haven't replied to, any emails, any contact you need to make with other people. Like I said, looking at your finances, like getting really clear on these things and not burying your head in the sand. So get it all out on paper, and you'll probably find that as you're writing this list, more and more stuff is coming up. Oh yeah, I forgot I need to like go and collect that thing. Oh, I forgot I need to return that package. Like write everything down in as much detail as you possibly can. Oh, I've forgotten it's so-and-so's birthday that day. Oh, I need to remember to send that person a card. Like get it all on paper, out of your head onto paper. So then you're going to end up with a giant list of all these things. And this is a problem that a lot of people mistake with at this point. This is a brain dump, like getting it all out of your head and onto paper. One of the problems that people do at this point is stopping. They get it all out and they write this giant list, and they think that that's the to-do list. And it kind of is, but it's not. Like, we don't want to be just working from this giant paper with loads of scribbles on and a giant list. What we want to do is categorize it and actually make sure that these things get done. Because the faster, the swifter we can be productive and get these things done, the sooner we can enjoy life and have more free time. So I want you to think about it like this. If you imagine yourself so say you've got a day stretched out ahead of you, right? You've got like 12 hours in your day, and the thing you're really stressed about is writing an essay. And if you are super honest with yourself, how long would that essay take you? And you think to yourself, like, really, if I worked really, really hard on it, I think I could get that essay done in 5 hours. But we don't think like that. What we do is we think, oh, okay, I've got 12 hours today. I've got to get that essay done. And we all know work expands to fill the amount of time allocated for it. So if you've got 12 hours of day ahead of you, what you're going to do is do a little bit of work. Then you're probably going to procrastinate. You're going to go and distract yourself. Oh, I'll have some food. Oh, I'll go and text so-and-so. Oh, I'll go out for a walk. Oh, I'll call my mum. Like, all these nice little distractions. And then suddenly it gets to 10 p.m. and you haven't finished your essay, and you then have to pull an all-nighter to get it done. How many of you can relate to that? Because I know that's me. That was me. At uni, that was me. Like, always doing things at the last minute. But if you can get into a position where you're concentrating the things you need to do, in front loading them into a short space of time early on, you are freeing up the rest of your day. Imagine if you said, right, this essay is going to take me 5 hours, you need to dot a couple of breaks in there, so probably let's allocate 6 hours. If you manage to get that done in that 6 hours at the start of the day, you got the whole of the rest of the day off. You got the whole of the rest of the day. You can take yourself off swimming. You can go off shopping. You can go and see a friend. You can go to the cinema. But you can't really do that if you've allowed it to stretch out into the whole day. And the other thing about this is not just the actual time and that freedom of the time later in the day that you're giving yourself, it's also about how it feels up here. Because that first example that I gave, where the work is like expanding to fill up the day and you're like dotting it through the day and then backloading it onto the night and like pulling that all-nighter, you've actually spent most of that day feeling a bit stressed, feeling guilty. Like, every time you've distracted yourself and gone off and scrolled for 2 hours, you're not really relaxing. You're in this weird no man's land where you want to relax, but you also want to work, and actually you're doing neither. You're not really chilling out and you're not really getting any work done. So this is why I say about being productive, getting those things done in a concentrated time. So, right, we've got our brain dump. We've got this massive list of things we want to get done. What are we going to do next? So the next thing we're going to do is look through that list and get really honest about anything we can cross off the list, anything we cannot do. Are there things on there that are busy work that really don't matter, but you're just telling yourself like, oh, I really need to get that thing done? Do you actually need to get that thing done? Is there anything on there that you can take off your plate? Like, can you say no to an event? Can you... I'm just trying to think of other things that you might be doing that are busy work. Like, do you really need to do the ironing? Those kinds of things. Like, is it actually just busy stuff? So cross off anything from your brain dump that you don't actually need to do. So that's the first thing, delete. Second thing is delegate. What on that list can you delegate? Now, this is important. And if you're a people pleaser, then listen up, because this is probably the hardest thing for us as people pleasers. We find it so hard to ask for help. Let me know if you can relate. If you're a people pleaser, and I know so many of us in healthcare are, we're the kind of people that we're the ones that are there for other people. We're the ones that are always willing to lend a hand. We're the ones that will step up. We're the ones that will, you know, go and help a friend at midnight if they need us. We'll give up our Saturday to help a friend move. We're the ones giving. So to ask for help as a people pleaser is really, really hard. To say not only like, hey, I'm struggling and I'd really like some help, but to feel that feeling of like, oh, am I imposing on somebody else? Like, how do I actually have that conversation? How do I ask for help? But once you can learn this skill and say, like, I'd really love some help, it will open so many doors for you and make your life so much easier. Firstly, recognizing that you might need that help, and secondly, being able to have that conversation, and thirdly, being able to accept the help. People want to help you. People want, your friends and family and your colleagues want to help you, and your neighbors. Like, people love helping other people. We're part of a society. We should be helping each other. So let's think about things you can delegate and how to actually go about delegating. So things you can delegate, a lot. There's a lot of things you can delegate. Things around your house. So things with your partner or any housemates or family that you might be living with. Do you have to be doing that thing? Is it a chore that you could perhaps not do, that somebody else could do? Could you ask someone in your household to help with it, or to do it, or to take it off your plate completely? Other things that can be delegated, things at work. If you've got too much on your plate, can you hand stuff over to other people? Can you ask your boss if there's somebody else that could have that particular job? Could you ask a colleague to help you out with something? And I used to be notoriously bad at this. I used to think that at work I had to do everything myself, and I did do everything myself. And that's why I used to be the kind of person who would work through my lunch breaks and finish late all the time, because I couldn't delegate. I didn't feel like I had it within me to be able to do that. So learning to delegate is huge. And other things you can delegate, literally paying people to help you. If you've got the budget, if you've got the means to be able to pay somebody for 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week to come and help you with some cleaning, some laundry. If you've got it in your budget to ask somebody to come and mow your lawn, to pay somebody to wash your car, like, if you are so busy and overwhelmed and you don't have capacity to do these things, but you can spare some money to pay somebody to do it, go for it. That money is well spent. That money is well spent. I grew up in a family that we didn't pay people to help with, well, first of all, we didn't have the budget. But secondly, it was, even if we did have the budget, it was very much like we wouldn't do that. Like, we classed ourselves as a hardworking family, and there was very much like a stigma and a judgment around like paying somebody to come and help with your housework. Like, shouldn't you be able to do that yourself? So it took me a lot of time to get my head around that, but it's really important. If you're overwhelmed and really busy, like, you don't need to be doing all of this stuff yourself. And you also need to get into the mindset that, like, when you're doing things that other people can help you with, you're taking away from the things that only you can do. So, like, anyone can vacuum your floors. It doesn't have to be you, but only you can fulfill certain roles. Like, only you can be the partner to your spouse. Only you can be the mother or father to your children. Only you can be the friend to your friends. Like, think about how you doing those things and not delegating is taking away from your other roles that only you can fulfill. That was something that really helped me. Right, time for a little sip of tea. Talking an awful lot. Sorry, I'm definitely rambling a lot. I was only expecting to come on here for like 10 minutes and I've talked a lot. My tea is stone cold. Right, let's have a little look at the comments. So happy I found your channel from Miami, Florida. Wow, that's so cool. I'm so happy you're here. So thank you for being here. Delegating yard work is one of the best things I ever did. Now I just rent, as keeping a home was too much. Totally feel you on that. Totally feel you on that. 100%. So important. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. So, right, we've got our brain dump. You've gone through that brain dump and you've crossed things off that you don't need to do. You've deleted things off that list. You've delegated other things. And as you're delegating them, like as you're actually going through this brain dump, I want you to delegate in time, like in real time. So literally, like you've got your brain dump and say you've got on the list, mow the lawn, like literally text the person you need to text to ask them to help you with it, or like text your partner and ask them, like whoever it is you're going to delegate, like take action on it now, do the thing, delegate that thing. Next up is, once we've deleted whatever we can, we've delegated whatever we can, we're going to automate. We're going to go through that list and see what can be automated. We are not out here doing jobs that computers can do for us, okay? Like, you can get your groceries delivered. That is okay. Like, take things off your plate. Amazon have that service, don't they? This, what's it called? Like, subscribe and save or something like that. Like, figure out the things that are recurring and used up in your household. Figure out how long it takes you to get through one of those things. Put it on a recurring order. You don't need to be thinking about like, oh, I need to buy some shampoo and like, have I got car cleaner and all these kind of things. They're taking up valuable space in your head. So get them out of your head, set some automations. Same with things paying bills, all of that kind of stuff. Your groceries. So many shops have an online food delivery service. If you can afford to pay the extra few quid to get your groceries delivered, do it. And you probably actually save money, because let's face it, you're not going down and buying the impulse purchases at the ends of the aisles. So get your groceries on order, and on those lists, when you're ordering, you can normally set your like recurring things that you want, like the things that you know you're going to use each week. Just set them as a recurring thing, so they're always in your basket ready. You just press a button and you make that order. Make it easy for yourself. Other things you can automate. So again, this costs money, but if it's in your budget and you can make it work, things like a robot hoover. I mean, are we seriously living in a world where we can buy robot hoovers? Like, you do not need to sweep your kitchen floor anymore. Like, free up that time. Free up that time. Get yourself a second-hand one if it's, if you can't afford to buy the big fancy new ones, or find one that's refurbished. Such a game changer. Absolute game changer. Make your life easier. Do everything you can to create space and make your life easier. What else can we automate? If anyone's got any ideas, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about things that you automate. So a few other ideas. Think about what our grandparents did, okay? So our grandparents in their generation, like, yes, in so many ways, their life was way, way harder. They did not have access to the internet and all of the privileges that we have nowadays. So they had to find ways to make life easier for themselves. And a lot of that was about routines and rhythms. So they set routines and rhythms for like their cleaning and their chores and their meals for the week. So how many of you can remember this? I don't know if your grandparents did this, but like my grandparents, they would have set meals on set days. Always fish on a Friday, roast dinner on a Sunday. I can't think what else, but it was like set meals for set days. Create those kinds of themes for yourself. I'm not saying you have to have set meals and set days, but you could set yourself the theme of like, right, meatless Mondays, we're going to have a vegetarian meal every Monday. Have a list of 4 or 5 vegetarian meals that you have and repeat. Nice and easy. It takes away that like thinking of what you're going to have for dinner on a Monday. People talk about Taco Tuesdays. So Tuesdays can be like Mexican food. I'm just giving ideas, but that kind of thing. Wednesdays, make it Italian night. Choose a few different Italian meals. Like, give yourself themes to make life easier and take that decision fatigue out. Get yourself organized, have a meal planning little thing. You know what you need on your shopping list. It just makes life so much easier. So let's have a little look at the chat. How do you deal with nausea at work? Oh yeah, like sometimes I do get a bit nauseous with some of the things we see. Honestly, I just have to have a bit of a poker face, which is very hard for me because I'm quite expressive. And just try not to think about it too much. Like if there's something really grotesque or something that smells really bad, just poker face and think about the patient and think about how, like, although what I'm seeing might be upsetting or distressing or making me feel unwell, or smelling might make me feel unwell, just think about the patient and how how they're feeling, and try and like take myself out of it. Um, Keeping the wardrobe simple helps as well. One less decision to make. Boom. Yes, this is so true. This is another thing about automating your life. One of the things I used to do is I had basically 10 outfits on repeat. So working on average 5 days a week. So I would have a 2 week rotation, 10 outfits, easy as, nice and simple, didn't have to think. And it was probably like very boring because I had the same 10 outfits that were on rotation every 2 weeks, but it made life easy for me. So kind of creating yourself this like little capsule wardrobe, or even just coming up with a bit of a color theme so that all of your clothes go with each other, just doing anything you can to reduce that decision fatigue. If possible, a shorter commute to work is nice as well. 100%. That changed my life. Like my first year as a doctor, I was over an hour and a half away from my job, so sometimes 1 hour 40. And that's it's a long old drive. It's a long old drive. And then in my second year as a doctor, I was 30 minutes away, and that difference was so lovely. It made life so much easier. And you know what? It's the things that you're doing repeatedly, those things that you're doing every single day, that make the biggest difference. Because you may think to yourself like, oh, what's the difference between like an hour commute and a half an hour commute every day? Like it's not a big deal. But you add that up over a week and you think about the number of hours that you're spending extra on your commute. You add that up over a month, you add that up over a year, and that extra little tiny chunk of your time that's being taken away from you and being used up thinking about work, getting into work mode, coming home from work, fighting traffic, those little chunks of time add up, and they're important because they're taking away from you being able to do what you really need to do or what you really want to do. So yes, I 100% agree with you about the commute. Okay, so where are we at? So talking about overwhelm, to anyone who's new in this live, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments where you are joining us from in the world. We're in the UK and it is dark and I'm sat by a window, so sorry if you can hear traffic going past. We're talking about overwhelm, how to overcome overwhelm in the moment and get yourself to a place where you're feeling a bit more calm and organized. And that is because I've got a new program coming up next week, which is my Spring Clean Your Life program, where I'm teaching you my habits, routines, and systems to get yourself going from feeling overwhelmed to feeling organized. So I've left that in the description box, and you can use the code EARLYBIRD for £75 off. That is only valid until midnight tomorrow. So get yourself in there. It's going to be so good. I can't wait. So hopefully see some of you in there. So we've got this brain dump, we've deleted things, we've delegated things, we've automated things and just made things as easy as possible. So the final thing we need to do, we've got a few more things still on our list that are like to-dos and we've got to get them done. So how do we go about getting them done? So we're going to categorize them into two things. So the first is quick wins, things that can be done in less than 2 minutes. So I'm talking reply to a message, write a birthday card, order a quick gift for somebody, book a doctor's appointment, any other quick wins that you can get done in 2 minutes or less. So that's going to be in one side of your list. And then the other things are tasks and to-dos that are going to take a bit longer, writing that assignment, having a phone call with a friend, reviewing your bank statements. All of those things are going to take longer. So those things that are going to take longer, we're going to schedule them out. Have a look through your calendar, work out exactly when you're going to get those things done and schedule them in. The other things, the quick wins, the 2-minute ones, get them done now. So while you're in the state of like doing your brain dump and getting all these things done, set yourself a timer. What I like to do is a 30-minute timer and blitz through as many of them as possible. So set that 30 minutes and just go, go, go. Like I said before about like working swiftly and remembering that work expands to fill the time that you allocate to it. if you set yourself a 30-minute timer, you will be amazed at how much you get done. So I do this with like pretty much every area of my life because I get so distracted by things. You've probably noticed just being on this call, I go off on lots of tangents. But I find that if I set myself a little timer, it makes it fun, makes it into a bit of a challenge and a game, and it puts pressure on me. I normally put some good music on, or I've got my earbuds in, I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast, and I whip around and I get those things done as quickly as I can. So I do it with my cleaning. If I'm on a really overwhelmed day, if I have like way too much on my plate, my 10-minute tidy up, that's my like bare minimum. Just do 10 minutes. And I do that because even on my most busy days, even on those days where you've been out the house for 16 hours and you're exhausted and you're dead on your feet, I still do a 10-minute tidy up because I just want I'm really impacted by my environment and I want things to feel calm and fresh and clean and neat, and it makes me feel better. So 10-minute tidy up, I just whip around. Normally that just means me like loading the dishwasher, maybe folding up some laundry, or maybe wiping the kitchen counters, whatever it may be, giving the bathroom a quick wipe. It's amazing how much you can get done in 10 minutes. On the days where I haven't got quite so much on my plate, I do a 30-minute timer. And again, I do set a timer because otherwise I'll get distracted. And I just rush around and get as much done as I can. Again, it's amazing what you can get done in that amount of time. Putting loads of laundry away, the whole kitchen's clean, the bathroom's clean, bedrooms, might even have time to do a quick vacuum. And then at the weekends, I tend to do a 2-hour whip around and clean. And again, set that timer, get as much done as possible. Cool. Oh, one of the best channels out there. Well done, Dr. Sarah. That is so kind. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Yeah, so those are the things that I do to like condense those things down, to get them done, make it as fun as possible, make it into a game. And often like Vince and I will do this stuff together. So that also makes it more fun. If you've got kids, get them involved, like make it into as much of a game as possible, make it fun and get it done. And then yeah, everything else you've got scheduled out. So I try to schedule things in, like batch them in groups. So like jobs need to be batched together. So like correspondence, as in emails, WhatsApps, phone calls, I batch in one thing. Online things, ordering stuff, reviewing documents, like all the things you might have to do, all the jobs you've got to do online, researching, blah blah blah, typing, blah blah blah, they all go in one category. You get the gist. Like physical to-dos, garden jobs, household jobs, stuff to do with your portfolio for work, like batch them in like for like jobs and just schedule them in, give yourself however long you need to do, get them booked into your calendar, set reminders, because the whole aim of this is to get it out of your head, out of the to-do list you're carrying around in your head, and get it scheduled into your calendar so you don't have to think about it. Or you don't need to do anything. You don't need to remember anything. All you need to do is wait for that reminder to come up, and then you just take action then and get it done. Right, I'm going to read some of these comments and then I'm going to go to bed because it is past my bedtime and I'm tired. Love from India. Oh my gosh, it is so cool. Hi from Wales. Hi. It's really, really cool meeting all you guys from so many different parts of the world. It's so incredible that we have this opportunity, isn't it? Like, blows my mind, blows my little brain that we can connect like this across the world. So someone says, what are we talking about? It sounds interesting. Well, been talking about overwhelm, been talking about how to make your life easier, how to simplify things in your life. So you can watch the replay. I mean, this is very lengthy, but I think the replay you'll be able to watch in double speed if you want to. But if you want to have a more structured approach and you want to learn about this in more detail, I have a program upcoming, which I've linked in the description box, called Spring Clean Your Life, which is all about getting organized, going from overwhelm to organized. I'm going to share all of my habits, routines, and systems. I'm giving you literally like the whole process I use to set my life on autopilot and to make things as easy as possible so that I am not feeling overwhelmed and life just feels great. Life feels free. I've got time to do the things I want to do. I am not stressed. I am not overwhelmed. So if you want that, click the link in the description box. Use the code earlybird. You've got to use it by tomorrow because it's the last chance to get £75 off. So you're only going to be paying just over £100 if you use that code. Let me know if you come and join. I would love to see you in there. It's going to be so much fun. And if you do join, I will see you in there next week on Wednesday, which is the day after my birthday, so we can celebrate. And that's probably why I've done it then, because I wanted to have a little celebration with you guys. Anyway, right, time for bed for me. Liam says spring clean the bloody lot. Yes, and you know what? I'm in like proper spring cleaning mode at the moment, like physically spring cleaning everything. Like we have basically like dismantled the kitchen and cleaned it all last weekend, and then this weekend we like jet washed the patio. I feel like I'm a proper adult these days, like jet washing the patio, planted all my little vegetables out into their little pots and everything. I'm feeling very accomplished. So yeah, all about spring cleaning vibes. What if we have a great idea now? How do we get it today? I am not sure what that means. What if we have a great idea now? How do we get it today? Not sure what that means, but it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you guys, and can't believe it's been 51 minutes. Thank you so much. Liam did the pear trees 2 weeks ago, definitely. Something, yeah. It's so exciting. It's so exciting seeing all of the garden stuff coming to life. Like I'm proper adult now, and that's one of the things about like coming out of burnout and coming out of like feeling overwhelmed and stressed all the time, like slowing down and having time to do stuff like that. Before I was like constantly on adrenaline, like go, gotta like act quick, do things quickly, and like I'm learning now to slow down and enjoy slow pace of life. Right, good night everyone. It's been a dream talking to you all. I hope you have a lovely day ahead of you or rest of your night, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Let me know, send me an email, send me a DM if you've got any video requests or any questions, and I'll catch up with you soon. Lots of love.